Oh, you don't like the sound of your own voice?
No.
Dude, it's a nice voice. It's very good for radio.
Thanks.
Just like your face.
Aw. You're so nice today.
That's an old joke. You've never heard that joke? You got a face for radio?
No.
Do you understand it?
Are you lying to me?
No. You don't understand the joke? You got a face for radio?
No.
Think about it. Why would you need a nice looking face for radio?
Because they don't show your face.
Exactly.
So you were lying to me.
No, that's like the joke. It's not a lie. It's just like an old joke.
Wow.
That joke's been around since radio's been around.
No, it's all right. You're trying to say that I'm ugly. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is the joke. Thank you. Thank you.
Alrighty.
Thank you. I'm here for another 5 months. I'll be performing.
No Mari for you.
Absolutely nowhere. No.
It's all right.
All
right. Be sad.
I'm always sad. We're all sad. It's
Same.
deployment.
We still have 0 listeners.
Yeah, that's fine. Who cares? I just wanted to talk with you. I want to talk about Djinn, and I want to talk about wishes. I don't do these for the listeners. Are you crazy? I just do this because we have the best conversations, and then I get to listen to them over and over again when I edit. It's awesome. All right, let's get into it because I'm actually really interested in this. There's a lot more to it than I had originally thought, and yet it all makes sense. It all comes together, and it sort of ties into Western lore because Djinn are more like Eastern belief, Eastern lore, Eastern. You could call it superstition, but most people in the East do believe in Djinn. So I don't know if
it's
that's
very
like
part of the Islamic culture, also.
Yeah, I know. I knew that going into this, but I didn't know. All right, well, let's get into it. So, Djinn are, I'll say, creatures for now that are thought to have supernatural powers, and they've been westernized to sort of, I guess you could say, like their powers are granting humans wishes. But there's a lot more to it than that. So they're described in the Quran as smokeless fire, and they're almost like invisible. So they I feel like it's interpreted like they're able to move from one place to another, almost like they can walk through like wormholes or something. They can kind of like travel in and out of space and time wherever they want in a way. And apparently there's like 3 forms of Djinn. There's like ones that can fly, ones that can travel in and out of almost like dimensions, and then there's like one that's they're similar to humans where they just kind of walk. I don't know. What did you read about them?
Honestly didn't read much because I don't think I clicked on good links, but they do show up in the Quran a lot, and that's obviously the Islamic Bible or whatever you want to call it. And
yeah, aren't you don't you, or when you were younger you followed Islam? Like, weren't you Muslim?
I did.
Yeah.
I sure did. I don't practice it as much, but I technically still am Muslim.
What and you never talked about Djinn or anything?
No, actually I really didn't. Didn't really understand. Well, when I would go to church church. It's not really
Yeah.
called church, but basically church. I didn't understand anything that they were saying because it's in Arabic. So
Oh.
I was not paying
Yeah.
attention. I mostly just did the prayer and then left.
Oh, okay. Well,
But it is in the Quran.
yeah. Apparently it comes up 29 times, and so I guess the story is like similar to like any religion where there's like angels and demons and stuff, like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So um so the, sorry, I know you can probably hear them yelling in the background. Um it's a
Bless you.
basically they were created by God or Allah, and they are kind of like humans in a way. They live underground, and they were eventually enslaved by somebody important. Not the Prophet Muhammad, but somebody else. I don't know religion, so I apologize to anyone who's going to listen to this. I don't really like religion's kind of interesting, but I like other stuff. So basically, they were enslaved, and eventually they were forced to, I guess, live underground. And people believe that they influence humanity. So they'll put ideas into people's heads, or they'll cause them to go mentally insane or mentally ill. Um, a lot of times they come in different forms. Like there are certain jinn that shapeshift. So like they'll come in the form of snakes or dogs or scorpions. I thought that was pretty cool. Um, a lot of stuff like in Aladdin westernized the idea of jinn. So like they're basically like they made them into like genies. We call them like genies in
Mm-hmm.
the West. And the story of like 1001 Nights. That's like the old like Arabian Nights story. It has Aladdin and a lamp, and he rubs the lamp, and a jinn pops out and grants him 3 wishes. Um, but the thing about jinn and their supernatural powers, so I read this really good article that this guy wrote. He kind of was describing like what jinn really are, for lack of a better term. So he was like there's a lot of there's a lot of supernatural, or what we consider supernatural beings on planet Earth, right? You and I always talk about this, and I always say the same thing. It's like there's just a lot of rules to the universe that I just don't think humans fully comprehend, or we just don't understand yet. And I think jinn are just a part of that. And this guy made a point of being like, yeah, there are jinn. Um, they can be conjured, but they're not going to do everything for you. Like they can't. And this is kind of the interesting thing that's followed in Westernized and Eastern belief of them, is like they can't make somebody fall in love with you. They can't kill anybody, and they can't bring anybody back from the dead. And
Oh,
a
wait a
lot of
minute.
time,
I read something different.
what did you read?
I read that they can possess you, like if
Yeah.
they're like revengeful. I mean, they can't make you kill anyone, but they can possess you and make people fall in love with you.
Right. So like with the wishes thing, like I was talking about, like you can't like just wish for those things to happen, but if you are susceptible to possession, like I think if you're kind of like easily swayed by things, maybe weak-minded, one might say, um, like you can be possessed by a jinn, and you can kind of be under the influence. They'll do things like, sure, like you might get rich, but it's not really you. It's the jinn possessing your body, right? Like if you wish for wealth or
Mm-hmm.
something, and it's the jinn possessing your body and doing things for you. And jinn are kind of like there's so many other beings like on Earth that are pretty much like what jinn are. Like jinn aren't one specific thing. They're not like one demon that looks a certain way, like with pointy horns or a long nose or anything. They're more like they can come in like a bunch of different forms. They're not always. It's this guy had a good point. He described it like humans. Like there's black humans, there's white humans, there's Asian humans, there's fucking Islander humans. Like we're all different and have different cultures and maybe different ways of doing certain things. But in the end, we're all humans. So and we're not that different. So this guy kind of described it like that. He's like, Jinn are just kind of a lot of different things that humans don't fully understand. They're kind of beyond our comprehension, and some of them are malevolent, and some of them are they're good. You know, some of them want to do good things. It just seems like jinn are spoken about in religious writings as typically bad or evil, um, and you know that mystifies us. It's interesting. Um, I like the idea that they're able to make things happen that humans aren't really able to make happen. Like they almost like help you along, but if you're an evil person, you know, naturally, and that jinn links up with you, like you're probably going to accomplish some really bad things.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, I thought that was like an interesting way of putting it. Like Jinn aren't, you know, they're not like Mothman or Bigfoot or whatever. They're kind of a bunch of different things, and a lot of times people don't know how to categorize them because they're either they're invisible or they come in different animal forms. I just think that's cool. The reason we're talking about these, by the way, is we're gonna watch the movie Wishmaster tomorrow night, and that's all about a jinn or a genie and kind of how wishing can go wrong, especially when a human interacts with something that's beyond humanity. And I think that is the case for a lot of things. I think when people get involved with things beyond their understanding, it typically goes wrong. Wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, of course. I mean, especially in movies, it's always like that. I mean, it's like you have to trade. You have to do something for them in order, like, for your one thing to
It,
happen.
exactly. It's like um, it's like making deals. You know, I know like Hollywood's been like very like anglicized and Christianized or whatever, you know, but in the end, like when you want to do magic or you want to make or you want to talk to the dead, let's say, or talk to things beyond the veil, like using a Ouija board, you know, typically the things that want to talk back to you aren't really things with the best how do I put this, like kindness in their heart, you know. It's like it's like kind of like going on the streets of New York City and waving to everybody, and that one person that comes up and talks to you is probably going to be not the most mentally stable.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's how I think about it in my head. So I think Jinn kind of, when they see an opportunity, they pounce on it, and humans are kind of like easily swayed by things. I think there's lots of stories like that, whether you're reading the Bible, the Quran, or you know the Torah. Like there's going to be stories like that everywhere, where somehow we're easily influenced by devils and demons or things beyond our understanding. I mean, shit. Look at Adam and Eve. Even you know that whole story. It's like
The snake, yeah.
yeah, exactly. And to Eastern culture, that is kind of like a jinn. Like he appears in snake form, influences a human to do something, and then it changes the outcome of the rest of the world. You know, and I think that's more what jinn are. I'm not sure if they're really wish granters, but they certainly influence people and events to happen, kind of like Mothman. I mean, it might all be the same thing. You know, I think things are
I didn't watch Mothman, but I did read that like lots of time to figure out what kind of jinn someone was possessed with. Um they would ask what kind of dream they had previously,
yeah.
and like say if they had a dream that they were fighting with an animal, or if they